Joining me now is Arizona Secretary of State Adrian Fontes. He is the chief elections official in the state of Arizona and previously served as the recorder of Maricopa County. Thank you so much for being here, Mr. Secretary. You are the chief elections official in your state. It's a state that relies heavily on mail-in ballots. It's always worked very well. I want you to respond to what the president said, what he wants to do on mail-in balloting. What's your reaction?
Well, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The president can pound sand. The Constitution clearly says that the states are the ones who run elections, and Congress can also play a part. The Voting Rights Act, the Help America Vote Act, the NVRA, those are certainly federal statutes. But for the most part, states are in charge of running elections. That's why this federal republic works. The president, number one, has no business interfering in the methodology, time, place, and manner of these elections. The bottom line is this, as you mentioned a minute ago, ballot-by-mail voting is an important part of the way many states run their elections. In fact, there are several states out west where every voter gets their ballot in the mail. That's just the way that we do it. And importantly, Donald Trump won Arizona in 2024 with mail-in ballots. No excuse absentee voting in Arizona was invented by Republicans. Republican Governor Fife Symington signed it into law back in the early 90s. It has been developed and improved over the years, and it is a preferred method by the vast majority of Arizona's voters. So this is outside of his scope of business, and I think he should just mind his own.
And why do you think he's making these attacks? Do you think it's about the 2020 election where he lost, or could it be about undermining confidence in 2026?
Well, that's exactly what it's about. And, you know, he has said repeatedly that if you voted for him in 24, you'd never have to vote again. He stopped us from talking to the Department of Homeland Security's agency called CISA. He has asked the DOJ to criminally prosecute the former director. He has threatened to prosecute state elections officials. He issued an executive order earlier this year pretending to take over other parts of the elections process. This continued erosion of confidence in our elections with spurious and false claims by the president is setting up one thing and one thing only. That is the erosion of confidence in our elections so that he might be able to potentially declare an election and suspend 2026. But look, we ran elections during the Civil War. We ran elections during the Spanish flu, during World War I, during World War II, even during COVID-19, when many of your viewers remember folks were afraid to leave their homes, but we continued and we persisted. And that's what American elections officials have done for the past 2.5 centuries. And we intend to continue doing so. Thank you very much.
You mentioned what the Constitution says about states' rights when it comes to running elections. It's pretty explicit. The time, places, manner of holding elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature thereof, but the Congress may at any time make a law to alter such regulations. If he puts out this executive order, my understanding of executive orders is that they do not go through Congress. Do you even have to listen to it? Do you have to file a lawsuit to prevent it from going in? I mean, what's your reaction if this executive order comes down?
Well, the interesting thing was the day after he made that threat, the White House started talking about, well, maybe we'll go through Congress. And that's because there was a hue and cry across the land. Look, Trump always chickens out. There's a reason that they call him Taco, and that's because in these sorts of things, he'll come out all full of bluster. And when he realizes at some point, or enough people tell him that that's illegal, you just can't do that, then he backs off and he moves to something else. This guy is nothing but a game show host and a salesman, and he needs to mind, again, his own business. He doesn't have the authority to do what he has threatened to do, but he does have a sound machine over in other spaces that continue to misrepresent the truth and mislead the American people. And this is an embarrassment for the United States of America, where you have a president who's just flat out lying and misrepresenting the power that he actually has, which is appropriately limited by Congress. And oh, by the way, this is a really good time now for us to call out the cowards on the other side of the aisle in Congress who will not put this president in check. You know, they used to be all about states' rights, but when Donald Trump says otherwise, they just bend at the knee.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. Secretary of State Adrian Fontes, thank you so much for your perspective on this. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.